Have you ever wondered why some people can eat whatever they want and you can't? Or have you ever compared your worst trouble area to someone's best? Why do some people have an apple shape and some have a pear shape? Well, today you're going to know the answers to all of those questions because we're talking all about the 3 different body types: ectomorph, endomorph, and mesomorph, and how you can identify which one you are so you can eat and work out for your specific body instead of trying to fight your genetic makeup. I'm going to give you the tools to make your body work for you instead of against you. Today, I will walk you through the quiz so that you know exactly what body type you are. But before we start, I have a quick story to help demonstrate why it's so important to understand your body type in the first place. When I was younger, I hated my booty and my legs. I always had a big booty. I always had strong legs. And I just wanted to have those little tiny petite legs like my friends. And I would work out super hard and try not to eat sugar and carbs. And I still had my booty and legs. So if I understood my body type better, I might have learned what my strengths are and what I can change versus what I cannot change. This would have saved me a lot of heartache. So let's fast forward to the 3 body types. If you're an ectomorph, you're usually long and lean. You have a smaller bone structure. You're more of that model body type where your fat is evenly distributed and you have a very fast metabolism, usually a hard time gaining muscle. If you're a mesomorph, you're more of an athletic body type. You have a lot more muscle mass, you have a very healthy metabolism, you're a little more athletic looking, and you're a medium bone structure. If you're an endomorph, you tend to gain fat a little easier and it's a little harder for you to lose weight. You have softer features, you might be a little more curvier, you have a little bigger bone structure, and you'll notice that you usually gain weight in your midsection and the lower half of your body. All right, let's get to this quiz. This quiz will help you figure out your body type and will shed light on techniques that can speed your weight loss process along. Question number 1. Your shoulders are either wider than your hips, the same as your hips, or more narrow than your hips. Question number 2. When you look in the mirror, what is more prevalent in your body? Your bones, your muscle, or your body fat? Question number 3. Your forearms look rather small, average, or large. Number 4. Is it easy for you to gain weight? A, I either can't gain weight even when I try. B, I manage to stay lean, but I can pack on a couple of extra pounds if I want to. Or C, it's easy for me to gain weight, but more difficult to lose it. Number 5, your body has a blank shape. So is it mostly straight, hourglass, or pear shape, where it's more narrow shoulders and wider hips? Number 6, if you encircle your wrist with your hands, middle finger, and thumb, do they A, overlap, B, touch, or C, don't touch at all? Now that you've answered all of your questions, look through and count how many A's, B's, and C's you have. If you have more A answers, you're an endomorph. If you have more B answers, your body type is a mesomorph. And if you have more C answers, then you have more of an ectomorph body type. Remember that you can actually be a mix of the 2. So if your answers are mostly B's with a few C's, you could be in the middle of 2 of the body types, but usually you'll identify more with 1. Now that you know what body type you are, let's briefly talk about diet and exercise for each body type. So if you are an ectomorph, you are very efficient at burning carbs. You can usually handle a lot higher carbs because you'll burn right through them. So your diet can consist of up to 40 to 50% of carbs, and you'll feel amazing. If an ectomorph wants to gain weight, you usually need to lift heavy weights and only do low impact steady state cardio, or you'll burn through all of that muscle. The problem is most ectomorphs are very good at long distance or endurance sports, so you usually love to run, which makes it hard to keep on muscle. You can store fat in your midsection. You will have very thin legs, and it might be hard to build a booty just because you do have such a fast metabolism. It's not impossible, it just takes effort. Let's talk about mesomorphs. You are an athletic build. Your example would be kind of like a Jessica Biel or a Halle Berry. You usually have a fair amount of muscle and you are proportionate throughout your whole body. So your body fat is usually distributed evenly. Your shoulders are about the same width as your hips. You can gain muscle easily, but you can also gain fat if you aren't careful. Mesomorphs tend to be athletes. They're really good at short bursts of energy. You do really well with moderate carbs, usually about 30 to 45%, and then moderate cardio. So you do really well with like lifting heavy weights and HIIT workouts and steady state cardio mixed in a few times a week. Your bone structure is in the middle, so if you try to put your middle finger and your thumb together, it will usually just barely touch. You don't really have a trouble area because your fat is usually distributed pretty evenly throughout your body. Let's talk about endomorphs. Endomorphs are more curvy by nature. You look more like a Kim Kardashian or a Jennifer Hudson. You also tend to have more of your weight in your lower half of your body. Your bone structure is a little bigger, so if you put your middle finger and your thumb around your wrist, usually your fingers won't touch. Endomorphs have a harder time losing weight because their body likes to store fat. They can also gain muscle pretty easily, so that's a positive aspect of the endomorph. Endomorphs have a hard time metabolizing carbs, so they do a lot better with a lower carb, higher fat diet. So their carbs are usually around 20 to 30% of their diet. And then endomorphs do better with circuit training and lifting weights so that they keep their heart rate up the whole workout. You usually need a lot more cardio than the other body types to stay lean, and you benefit from longer cardio sessions that are more steady state. So think around like 40 to 45 minutes, 4 to 5 times a week. And your trouble areas are usually in the lower body, like legs and booty, but you can also store in your stomach. One thing I also want to address is that every body type is going to have a trouble area. So when my husband Adam was competing, for example, he got down to 4% body fat and he still had love handles. Like his body was still holding on to the fat in his love handles. So it doesn't mean that he wasn't making progress or that he didn't hit his goal. It's just the last place on his body that he loses weight. So if your goal is to get rid of your love handles and that's how you're measuring your success, but they don't go away even at 4% body fat, you'll always feel like a failure. So what I like to do is tell my clients to look at themselves in the mirror, look at your strengths, and look at your weaknesses, and then make goals according to that. I see way too many women wasting their time and energy trying to be a different body type that isn't their genetic makeup. Now you have the tools so that you can really focus on your strengths and appreciate your body for what it is. If you like this video, check out my other video, what's happening to your body throughout each trimester of your pregnancy. I'm BodyByBree. Thank you for joining me to create the healthiest, happiest version of yourself. I'll see you back here next time.